Hey everyone, and welcome back to NDC. In the last episode, we explored variables. In today's video, we're talking about types in Swift. This has to do with properties, right? If I have a blue switch, maybe we'll learn how to control the state of it being on or off. This helps us control the different data and variables that we are working with. So let's go ahead and dive back on into Learn to Code number 2. Let's see if we can learn about types and beat the puzzles. Alrighty, types. These are our smart blueprints. If we wanted to build a house, we'd probably use a blueprint. This shows us the different features or rooms of the house, like the kitchen, bathroom, bedrooms, etc. And when we use a blueprint to build multiple houses, we know that these houses are going to look similar. In programming, a type is like a blueprint, and an instance like a house that we built from the blueprint. So it shows the features and behaviors of the house. So this could be like the color, the amount of bedrooms. The behaviors are more like running on the water through the taps or turning on the lights. So in a type, we have properties, which are like those features, and behaviors, which are called methods. Here we have an example of code. So we have a variable of a color, this time it's green, and a variable of bedrooms saying that we have 2 bedrooms. A property is really just a variable defined inside a type. If we look at our methods, we have the run water and turn lights on. A method is really just a function, but it's defined inside a type. Now let's say we want to open the garage door on a house. We have her house, my house, and his house. First, we need to refer to the house by name, and then we tell it what to do. So in my house opening the garage door, we're first referencing the house and then the garage door, right? We don't want to open up her house's garage door or his house's garage door. We want to park at our own house, right? So we specify the house and then we call upon that method right after the dot. So in our puzzle world that we've been helping Byte, Hopper, and Blue get through, we can use this to turn portals on or off. So in the case of the blue portal here, we're looking at the state of it being active, which is a true or false value. Is it on? Is it off? So we've set this to be false, and it actually turned the portal off. Let's go ahead and see how we can do this with some coding challenges. All right, first up, we need to deactivate the portal to reach the switches. Yes, because if we go through this portal in the middle, and it's very unavoidable, we're going to end up on this little platform here, which is less than ideal. So let's go ahead and see if we can take this true value of the green portal and set it to be false. Well, first things first, as we saw with the example, it's a Boolean value, which has a true or false property. So we're going to set this to be false. It should then, when we run our program, turn off the portal. So here I've ran the program and now it's grayed out. If we can zoom in, see the portal's grayed out. So we just need to now solve the rest of the program. Now that it's been set to false, we are totally good to go. Something I want to point out is if you are typing this out, you can use what's called dot notation to fill in the blanks. If you work in Swift Playgrounds for developing an app or Xcode, dot notation is great. Normally in Swift Playgrounds, we do have the suggestions down here, but dot notation allows us to essentially add those properties that exist. So if this is green portal, we only have the isActive that's available to us. Just wanted to point that one out. Let's go ahead and solve the puzzle. So it looks like we need to move 3 times, toggle a switch, kind of turn around, and repeat that in a pattern. We're already pros at this from the other puzzles. I'm going to make a function, and I'm going to call it move3. So that's something we'll be doing a lot. After that, we'll move forward 3 times. So you can either, loop through this or just put 3 move forwards. Both would work. And let's go ahead and use a loop to almost create an algorithm to solve this. So for I in 1.3, you can of course use the templates from the autofill in the bottom if you'd like. I'm on my Mac, so I'm just typing it all out. Okay, so let's call upon our move3 function first and foremost. We need to be able to get to where that portal was. We then want to turn a direction. I'm going to do turn right first. I'm going to go to this one on Hopper's right. We'll then call our move 3. Toggle the switch. And then we need to turn around to get back to the center where this deactivated portal is. So we'll do 2 turn lefts or turn rights, as long as they're the same direction. Okay, let's go ahead and step through our code, but we already saw that by disabling the portal, we no longer have to worry about it. But let's make sure that when we walk over it, it doesn't teleport us still. So we're doing our first function. We're going to turn right. We're going to move 3. But we can see we don't have to deal with that pesky portal. And there may be an instance where, depending on the puzzle, we have to turn off the portal at one point, turn it back on at another. We do have control over it. When we put it at the top, this is the first line of code that's being called. As soon as our program runs and we walk through the playground, it is taking that value, which is normally true, and setting it to be false. But we could later on, and maybe there's a puzzle that we'll have to update and change that value. Maybe we can even have the condition be determined based off of value. Maybe we don't want to turn on the portal until we have 3 gems. So I'm curious what other puzzles we'll have, but it looks like our algorithm has done the trick and we are good to go. So we can modify those instances. Let's go ahead and see if we can tackle the next challenge. Portal on and off. Hey, what was I just talking about? Okay, for this challenge, we need to use the portal, this little purple one here, to move to another location in the puzzle world. We'll also need to move over the puzzle to access other locations. Right, because we need to collect these gems, but we'll need to disable the portal until we've collected all 4. Then we want to go back through it, collect those gems, and then toggle that switch. So as we know, we can modify it using that dot notation, and we can choose when we want to be active or not. Okay, so let's make a few different functions. I think the first one we want to handle is maybe creating an algorithm to move and collect. And we can use, probably while not blocked, because we will reach the end of this line of gems and this line of gems down here, and even the toggle, and we'll probably need to turn around. So let's create a function, and let's call it move collect. We can probably call it move and collect. All right, we'll do a while loop. So while we're not blocked, a while is blocked, but we're going to use that exclamation point to get the opposite, the inverse of it. We definitely want to move forward. From here, we can say, if we're on a gem, let's collect it. So if is on gem, we'll go ahead and collect that gem. Okay, so first things first, we're going to go ahead and do our first function to go ahead and move and collect. Let's go ahead and call upon that, and let's just see how things work. It's always good with these puzzles to just give a little bit of experimentation and try. See how your code works, or sometimes it doesn't. So because the portal isn't turned off, we go through. We're going to collect our gems, and then we'll eventually be blocked. So in the case that we do get blocked here, we're going to need to turn around. So I'm going to call upon 2 turn lefts. Now, I think what I want to do next is disable the portal. I'm going to then go toggle a switch, turn the portal back on, and then go collect these gems. So I'm going to almost do like a zigzag or like a Z-shaped pattern. So let's go ahead and access our purple portal, do the dot is active, and then set it to be false. So it's going to start active. We're then going to deactivate it. Let's do a while loop. We can also probably use our move and collect if we really wanted to, but I'm just thinking this through. So while we're not blocked, we're going to move forward, and essentially we want to walk until we're at the end here where this switch is. So right after we get blocked, we're going to go ahead and toggle that switch. We'll turn around with 2 left turns. We probably could have made that a function since we're referencing it so much. Oh well. We'll then want to go back through the portal to collect the rest of these gems. So let's take our purple portal dot is active and set it to be true. Then we'll do our move and collect, which should allow us to collect that row of gems that we initially missed. So we're going to be turning it off and then turning it back on again. Go ahead and see if we got it right. I'll do the step through so we can watch it in real time. Okay, so again, it starts off active. We've already been this far, so we know our code works up until a point, but we do need to do that turn around, and then we'll watch how we can turn off the portal. Because we need to access that switch, right? Alrighty, Hopper's turning around. We can see that the portals have turned off. They're now gray. They don't have that purple glow effect. And we're going to be walking until we're blocked. Alrighty, we're going to toggle the switch, turn around, and then we're turning the portal back on. And there we go. So it should allow us to walk until we reach the end. And because we're taking the teleporter, it should be up here with the last row of gems. There we go. I think we got it. There you go, Hopper. All right, and then our program should stop running. There we go. So we may need to modify those properties multiple times while our code is running, but we have the power of turning it off and on. Okay, setting the right portal. Oh my goodness, what is going on here? We have multiple portals and it looks like 4 gems. Okay, so this blue portal goes all the way to the right and this purple kind of goes more to the middle. So we need to use both of them, but we also need to walk across some areas. We have to keep track of both of these portals' activation states, whether they're on or off. Okay, I think we're going to do our move collect function again. I'm just going to create it real quick. We'll say move collect. Empty parameters, do our braces. We'll do our move forward. And I think we're also just going to combine this one with the collect gem. So the first thing we need to do is move forward. I'm going to go ahead and opt to collect the gems out of the blue portal first and then do the purple. If you want to try a different order, feel free to do so. So I'm going to move forward. It's going to teleport us. I'm then going to do our move collect. That should put us where this gem is by the water. And then I'm going to do 2 left turns to turn around. I feel like I should always just do a function to turn around. Oh well. And now that blue portal is still going to be active. So we need to look at the blue portal state. And we're going to set the isActive to equal false. We want to turn it off. Move forward. So we should be now on top of the deactivated blue portal. Our move collect. Now turn back around. The 2 left turns. We're then going to want to turn the blue portal back on. We'll take our blue portal, isActive, and set it to be true. All right, let's verify that this works, and then we'll go ahead and explore the purple portal. 1 portal at a time. Okay, we're gonna turn around, turn off the portal, and we should be able to walk on top of it, go get that gem, collect it, and turn around. And it's gonna turn back on. Okay, great. So now we can use that portal again. Let's go ahead and move forward. That'll put us through the portal, and now we'll be kind of on this first portal where we had started. Let's take that purple portal. Oh, I'm sorry, apparently it's a pink portal. I was looking for the purple portal down here. My colors, I'm a little bit colorblind. Colors aren't the best apparently. So the pink portal, apologies, .isActive, and we want to set it to be false because again, we need to walk over it. So after we come out of this blue portal, move forward again, and then call our move and collect. We'll then have the gem, just turn around, and we're regretting not making the turnaround function. We'll take the, now that we have the gem up here, we'll take the pink portal, I almost called it purple portal again, and we'll set it to be true. That should put us through the portal here. We're probably going to be facing away from the gem. Do another 2 turn lefts, and then a move and collect. And we should be good to go. There might be an algorithm to this, but I think just typing this one out and thinking through the steps of the portals and even using my mouse to like kind of visually target where I am, I think that helped me figure this one out. But we're going to be changing the property of the different portals, and it's cool that each one has its own, right? That's why when we had the example with the garages, what affects my garage doesn't affect, somebody else's, even though they're both garages. Okay, here's where we left off last time. We're going to go ahead and activate the portal, go through it. Then we're going to turn off the pink portal. I remember this time. Move forward. We go ahead and move and collect. Do our sudo turn around. Turn the portal back on. Oh, I forgot. Oh, we were so close. Okay, I need to add another move forward there. My apologies. I got ahead of myself. All right, I'm just gonna run through it quickly until we get back to where we were. And it's okay to make mistakes. Again, with these puzzles, with coding in general, experiment, make those mistakes. What show is that from? It's like the Magic School Bus. Miss Frizzle, I think. She always talks about making mistakes. And there we go. We're able to now properly go through. Oh, bite. Hopper, rather. I guess it's just going. Happens. But by referencing those instance names of the different portals, we were controlling each portal individually. So we have total control. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next page, which is the corners of the world. Alrighty, corners of the world. And I see why it's called corners of the world. We have the orange teleporter, let me double check, orange portal, sorry, on the right side in the bottom right. And then the top left, we have the other orange portal. And we have this kind of crisscross pattern going on between the green and orange portals. Okay, so on the right side, looks like we have some toggles and there is a bit of elevation. So we will need to definitely use the teleporters at some point because we can't get to this green one. There's no stairs going up or down from it. We also have switches that need to be toggled and gems that need to be collected. So I think we're going to need to be switching these portals on and off in order to solve the puzzle. We might also need to write a little bit of an algorithm. We can kind of see we have these cross shapes here with the gems and the different switches here. All right, this might be a long one, but let's see if we can figure it out. The first thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be creating that turnaround function. Turn around. I keep saying I need to make it. Let's go ahead and do it. I feel like we're going to be doing a lot of turning around. So let's go ahead and add 2 turn lefts. Now we can call upon that function whenever we want. The next thing we want to do is we can either, handle the tiles individually or the gems individually. I think it's a good idea if we just checked the tile that they're on to see if there's a gem. If so, collect it. Otherwise, if they're on a closed switch, toggle it. And if you're not on either of those things, the blank tile, you don't have to do anything. So let's call this one function check tile. So we can use our if statement and the else if. So if is on gem, what do we want to have to happen? Definitely just collect that gem. And we'll want to use an else if. We can check for this other condition of is on closed switch. If that's the case, we'll go ahead and toggle the switch. Wonderful. Okay, next let's talk a little bit about how we can actually, move our character, do that check, and then turn around, right? Because we want to do this T-shaped pattern here. So let's go ahead and call this one function collect and turn, maybe? Collect and turn. That's a pretty descriptive name. So we want to move forward, right? We want to check the tile. If there's a gem, collect it. If there's a switch, toggle it. And then we'll want to turn around. So we're doing the collect and turn. Where did I put my turn around? Turn around. Okay, there we go. Okay, and this should be pretty good. I think we could kind of build it all out from here. The only other thing I'd suggest doing is maybe we create a function for when we want to do the collect and turn, and then have a case for when we want to turn left. Sorry if my video is mirrored, and then turn right. These are my left and right. So let's go ahead and create some functions. We're gonna be writing a lot of code in this one, and we'll call this one collect and turn, then turn right. That is probably one of the longest function names I've ever come up with, but it's very descriptive. Okay, so in this one, we're going to call upon our collect and turn. Then we're going to move forward. And then we're going to turn right. Now let's do the exact same thing. We can even copy and paste and just change up some of the names and the functionality. So for those cases, we need to turn left. So turn left, and you'll get an error if you leave things named the exact same. Then at the end, let's turn left. Okay, so we have our function to turn around. We have our check tile to check if there's a gem or something that needs to be toggled. We then have our collect and turn, which is great. And then we have a collect and turn that also takes us right and one that also takes us left. Perfect. Starting off, we're now going to be writing our code and putting all those functions to good use. But now we know what's in our arsenal. Yeah, move forward. there's water in front of us. We can either go right or left. I'm going to opt to start off by turning left. Okay, so we're going to be facing towards the green portal, and let's go ahead and move forward. Now, we can move forward twice, and we can actually start off by going through that portal, right? Let's go ahead and just quickly run our code, make sure we're good to go. So this should just put us with the toggles. I'm going to be handling that first because we kind of have a lot more continuity over here. Okay, now that we're through the portal, we're going to want to turn it off. So let's take our green portal is active and set that flag to be false. Okay, we then have 4 toggles in front of us here. So we're going to do a for loop. And I'm going to repeat this 3 times. The reason I'm doing it 3 times, I'll show you as we go through it. When we go to toggle the last switch, we're going to at some point need to turn this green portal back on. We're gonna have to go back through, right? We're almost on an island over here through this green portal. We need to get back home, or at least to the other side of the puzzle. So we're going to choose either our collect and turn left or turn right. Let's do our collect and turn right. There we go. So we're going to repeat that 3 times. Let's go ahead and quickly run through our code and see where we're left off. We can go through a little bit faster. I just kind of want to see where we're ending off on here. Cool. So I think we can use our original collect and turn. So we're going to move forward, check the tile, and then turn around. So right after this 4, let's do our collect and turn. Wonderful. And now let's turn that portal back on. We want to get out of here. So we're going to look at our greenPortal.isActive, and we're going to set this back to be true. I almost say false out of habit. We want that portal to be back on. So this should land us right over here by these 2 gems. Let's then move forward off of the teleporter, and then let's turn it off again. We don't want to go back through it ever again. Okay, let's also go through our code faster again. This is why I really like the playgrounds. We can kind of take it piece by piece and then make those adjustments as we see fit. So we should be, ending up through the teleporter and then turning it back off again. There's our collect and turn. Portal turns back on. Okay, we have 2 gems. So if we look at Hopper, we'll probably want to do the turn left. Yeah, that would make sense because we turn around and we want to go left there. So let's do 2 collect and then turn lefts. And then we should have those 2 gems. Afterwards, let's go ahead and move forward. I think I'm going to go ahead and move towards this orange portal next. So we'll need at least 2 move forwards, but we can always see where we're at. Also, I don't want to go through the orange portal just yet. So let's take our orange portal.isActive, that to be false. Again, we'll just run through the code quickly, verify we collect the gems, and then see where we're at. We're slowly progressing and building out our code. There we go. 2 gems. Oh, okay, I guess I'm going towards this one. I didn't know I'd be facing that way. You know what? That works. We'll deal with the toggles last. Okay, we are certainly under a gem right now. So we have some options. I think the first option is to collect the gem. Then after that, let's go ahead and loop through our pattern again. We'll do the right one. So let's do it 3 times. We found with like going through the portal, doing it 3 times is fine. So for I in 1.3, we're going to go ahead and do our collect and then turn right. Wonderful. We'll do our really quick run faster and see where we are after that. So we should have the 4 gems, and then we should look to move through that orange portal. And then we'll finally get to the one across the way. I was a little bit disoriented about where we're going next, but again, that's why we take it piece by piece. So there's the gem. Oh, a little bit off, Okay, well, let's go ahead and move forward one more time. Right before we do that loop. Happens to the best of us. Again, that's why I really like the puzzles. We can play around with it, make mistakes, and it's okay. I mean, like I said before, that's what coding's all about. It's about making mistakes, learning from them, making adjustments, and writing the best code you can. Also, this is a very difficult puzzle that you should have to take piece by piece. I already messed it up again. Okay, what am I doing? I put the move forward before there. Okay, either way, we can do our, now that that's been fixed, we can go ahead and do our collect and turn. We can turn the portal back on. So I believe that was the orange portal. And let's set the isActive to equal true. A lot of steps in this one. I think it's the most steps we've ever had to do. Okay, so in theory, we should now be able to move forward through the portal. Let's then, once we're through the portal, turn it off so we don't accidentally go back through. And then let's do a turn left. I'm just trying to think of where we should be facing towards the stairs here. So I want to turn left, and then we could do our collect toggle turn right, and then the collect toggle turn. I don't know, let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. We've made it up to this point this quickly. That's a weird way of saying that, but I'm sure, you know, we can continue to make those adjustments. Again, this is a very long one. Oh my goodness. This video is going to be like so long, and it's just mainly on this puzzle. I don't even think this is the last one. We have a whole nother puzzle to go. Okay, a little bit of a, you know, not needed movement, but that's fine. We can always refine it later. Here we go. Oh my goodness. Wow. You just solved a tough challenge. That's an understatement. I had to really, there's smoke coming out of my ears from all my brain activity. But wow, we did it. One more puzzle to go. So remember, as you're going through, it's about creating those algorithms, it's about problem solving, about adjusting and, you know, changing and updating those different elements, right? Oh, okay, random gems everywhere. Let's go. So we have a constant where we have total number of gems, which equals the random number of gems. So I assume every time we run this playground, we'll get a different amount. So 3, I'm going to run it real quick. Okay, and this time we have 8. Got it. So we're definitely going to be using our variables, and we need to write an algorithm that keeps our character moving around the puzzle world. Okay, so because, you know, we don't know how many gems we're going to have, so we need to make sure that we're, you know, adjusting and updating the puzzle world with an algorithm. I think I have a pretty good idea for this one, especially when we look at the portals. They're almost like a mirrored copy of each other. I think I have a pretty good idea for this one. Let's first create our variable with the var keyword like we learned last time. Do a gem counter. I think that was what we were using before, and let's have the number 0. Okay, so let's actually start off by disabling both of those portals. We saw that we can actually have gems in this row here. And if we run our code again, when the playground's loading, you can see silhouettes or kind of like outlines So the gems can be in any one of these 3 rows, the left row, middle row, or right row as we're looking at it now. So I'm going to first actually check this middle row, and I'm going to disable both of the portals. So I'm going to take the blue portal, and I think that was the pink one, pink portal. And I'm going to set both of these to have their isActive states to equal false. Go ahead and make sure we do that for the pink one as well. I still think it looks purple, but that's just me. Okay, as we learned from our variables lesson, we can use the while and we can actually compare those values. So while the value of our gem counter, which you can see up here, this would have been a fun one, only 1 gem. We'll make sure this is a lowercase w. While gem counter is less than, remember the crocodile always wants to eat the bigger number, less than the total gems, what do we want to have happen? Well, we need to collect our gems. So if is on gem, we're going to go ahead and collect that gem. Definitely want to do that so we can, eventually complete this playground. And then every time we collect it, we're going to update our gem counter. So I'm going to do the plus equals 1. You can also do the equals gem counter plus 1. Totally up to you. I just like the plus equals shorthand. There we go. Okay, we need to then handle how we're moving through the playground. This feels more like a variable challenge, but I guess we are dealing with the portals here. So outside of our if, but still within our while, let's go ahead and have our character move forward. We can then handle the situation of whenever we're blocked, because we're going to be ping-ponging between all of these rows. So if we're blocked, we'll definitely need to do a turnaround. So I like to do my 2 turn lefts here. And now we can really start to get crazy with our algorithm. So when we're blocked, I'm going to go ahead and create something that's going to switch the states between the portals. So I'm going to create an if statement still within our is blocked if. So we have a nested if, and we're going to look at the state of the blue portal. And we can do our comparison operators that we've done before. So if the blue portal is active, and we want to look for that true value. Now we could do the equals and say true, but we want to, grab that exact value. That's why we use the double equal sign. So if the blue portal is active is exactly true, we can use those double equals. So if it's on, I want to turn it off. And I'm also going to turn off our pink portal. Right, so again, we're using this double equal sign for the comparison, and then we're using the equal down here to, establish it. Okay, outside of the if, we're going to do an else if blue portal dot is active double equals false. So whenever it's not on, then we're actually going to turn it on. See what I'm doing here? Where we have a condition. Okay, whenever it is on, I'm going to turn it off. Whenever it's off, I'm going to turn it back on. And this is going to trigger every single time we're blocked. So it's going to be like toggling them on and off. It's like almost creating like a loop of, hopping the states. So let's go ahead and finish this out. And our pink portal as well. Oh, sorry, this should also be true. Okay, this is my idea. We should be moving and just like every time we get blocked, we kind of flip the switch literally on the state of these portals. Let's go ahead and give it a go. I'm also going to do the step through for this one, but I feel pretty confident about my answer. Just last time, I think I'm good at writing algorithms, but the ones that are a little bit more random need a little bit more practice, or I guess experimenting. Okay, we're blocked and we've then turned around, and then we're going to say, okay, are they off right now? Yep, we're going to turn them on. So both our portals are on now. We're going to go through this pink one. We're going to collect those gems, and then we're eventually going to be blocked again. And what happens when we're blocked? If we flip the switch, it's going to look at our code and say, yep, the blue portal is active. There we go. And we also collect the gem before we leave. Perfect. And this also allows us to get to the end of this row. There we go. And now the portals turn back on. And this should actually put us through the blue portal. So I'm just going to speed it up a little bit now that we've verified that our logic works of flipping the switch on and off. Look at that. And again, if the entire world here, as long as they were within those 3 columns, rows, whatever you want to call them, I guess it'd be columns. Columns are usually up and down. I don't know. We'd be able to get through them. So this challenge was a lot easier, well, at least in my opinion, for my brain, than the last one. The last one's a lot of trial and error. Either way, we have just conquered types. Our coding skills have certainly come a long way since Learn to Code #1, and it's really refreshing to go through these different challenges and say, oh, we can use a while loop here, we can use our if, else ifs, our comparison statements, and we're writing the algorithms to really allow us to use all the tools that we've learned along the way in our tool belt to complete these coding challenges. So thank you for coming on this journey with me. Next time, we will be taking a look at initialization. In the Learn to Code series, we actually only have 4 more coming up. Initialization, parameters, world building, and arrays. Pretty exciting. So make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss the next lesson. Until this series is over, I'm posting them every single Sunday. Otherwise, dream big, code bigger, and we'll see you in the next one.